Peter Quill and the rest of his team of space outlaws continue their quest to try and stop the threat of Grootfall. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 2 and find out what happens next, shall we? Alrighty then, so picking up from where more or less the last issue left off, Star-Lord and the rest of the Guardians are still in uncharted space. Their string of bad luck continues to go from bad to worse as they end up running out of gas, right in the middle of a giant years-long alien war between two factions, the United Sectors and the Whitecaps. These two groups have actually been fighting for so long neither side actually remembers why the war was started, though it's heavily implied some of the other bigger space empires are actually funding this conflict from behind the scenes as part of a much bigger colonialist effort. No, those silly Kree and Shi'ar, what wacky war crimes are they going to be responsible for next? Now, continuing to build off what we saw in the previous issue, the Guardians team isn't exactly seeing eye to eye right now. In fact, Drax actively refuses to go on the away mission. At first I thought it was because maybe he was scared or still working through some Grootfall related trauma, but the truth is actually much more interesting, but we'll circle back to that at the end. Peter is lucky because he actually knows one of the alien generals working for the United Sectors. This guy's name is Kraken with 2 Ks because this is comic books and adding extra letters is always cool. Apparently Star-Lord and this big red lobster man were actually old war buddies from some battle long ago, long forgotten. Lobsty talks a little bit how those old wars were a lot simpler when they were younger and healthier and fighting for money. Now he's returned home from war though only to find his own planet embroiled in a great deal of turmoil. Star-Lord has a plan of course, as he always does, and it involved sending Gamora and Nebula over to talk to the Whitecaps, who are even stranger and even more alien than you could imagine. They got these weird light heads and speak in an incomprehensible language that even Nebula and Gamora have a hard time discerning. Also, in a fun reversal of fortunes from the current movie, Nebula is actually the really cynical one right now, thinking that Star-Lord's idea is stupid, while Gamora just kinda wants to drink and go along with the program. Again, something definitely happened to them that really left its mark on the team, but we still don't know what it is yet. Star-Lord tries his hardest to convince his old war buddy to put down his arms and actually make peace with his hated enemy, the Whitecaps, in hopes that by working together they could actually survive the coming threat of Grootfall. A nice humanitarian idea that ends up completely blowing up in his face when we realize that Kraken over here doesn't want to make peace. In fact, after Mantis scans his mind and emotions, it's made abundantly clear that maybe deep down in his heart of hearts this guy is still fighting for money, as at the core of this battle is the strange wonder metal known as Mysterium. You'll know this stuff if you've been reading the X-Men books. Basically it comes from the White Hot Room and it's the biggest, bestest metal ever. The Whitecaps actually had a big giant chunk of this stuff just sitting out there in the open, and because the Guardians do ultimately need gas money and it's the whole reason they stopped here in the first place, Nebula steals it from the other faction. This of course leads to chaos and a massive shootout on both sides, wherein the Guardians team just narrowly manages to escape. As Star-Lord notes, there was a much simpler time in the team's history when they would have just blown in here and stole the Mysterium from the start and not tried to save a bunch of lives or made peace between two warring nations. But yet, despite all of their best efforts, they might very well have left this war worse off than they found it, but hey, at least they finally have gas money now. And what about Drax not getting involved in the fight? He was just sitting there looking at the planet. Drax says that when he looked out at the planet, he really saw himself, a place of calm, ringed by rubble, torn asunder by two things that have no business being there and cannot abide the existence of the other. And he also whittled a little model of the planet and gives it to Quill as a gift. Yeah, I guess Drax has taken up woodworking. I mean, I guess it is therapeutic as the comic comes to a close, and so that was Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 2, everybody, and honestly I have a hard time making heads or tails of this one. On one hand, it certainly feels like a classic sci-fi western. Our heroes roll into town, find some people from their past, end up getting embroiled in the local politics. But on the other hand, it felt like not much happened at all. Again, they're still leaving us some breadcrumbs here and there about what exactly went down with Grootfall and why the Guardians seem to be so messed up at the moment. And maybe this is just one of those situations where this is gonna read better in trade, or maybe I'm personally just getting really sick of so many comic book stories mystery boxing us and not giving us the also important context we actually need to understand what's going on. That's not to say this is an issue without its upside. The design work continues to be great. We're playing with a lot of different team dynamics here, especially with Star-Lord and Mantis basically taking point on the mission. But beyond that, we're only 2 issues in and I already feel like saying, hey, where where is the point and how can I cut to it? Again, not particularly bad, just not my particular cup of tea at the moment. Overall, I would give this one a 6.5 out of 10. I really feel like this is one of those stories that I'm going to instantly forget the second I post this video.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.